everyone. Good morning. I hope you're doing well today, and I hope your day is going great. If not, that is totally fine. Welcome to the Early Bird Weekly Podcast, where we talk about birds. I'm Ritiksha Satish Kumar, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the cockatiel. We'll look into some interesting facts about the cockatiel and sometimes go off track with what's happening outside my window. So winter break just got over and today's the first day of school after break. It's 6 a.m. right now and I really need to finish this episode as fast as I can and upload it by 6:30. But yeah, I am very excited to go back to school. So let's shift our focus to the star of today's episode, the cockatiel. But before we do that, we're going to do some breathing exercises, of course. I forgot to do that with you guys on my last episode, but we can do it this time. So just close your eyes or open your eyes. Just relax for a little bit. Just ground yourself and let yourself breathe and forget anything that's bothering you. So breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Last time, just think about all of the negativity just flying away when you breathe out. Breathe in. And slowly breathe out. You can keep your eyes closed for a little while or open them. So, now let's get into the episode. So I have some very fun facts about the cockatiel. It's a bird that I never really cared about. I thought it was since it's very popular, I thought, I would never have learned about it, but I actually came upon it when I was searching up birds, and something when you do a search and things show up underneath, something just showed up. It was Wireo bird, Wiro bird, and then I read it as weirdo bird, and I was I'm curious now, I need to look. So one of the other names for the cockatiel is Wiro bird, not weirdo bird, but yeah. So that's why I decided to learn about it, but I hope you guys enjoy it. So the first fun fact is the cockatiels were discovered by Europeans in Australia in 1770, becoming popular in the 1900s during the Australian gold rush. So that's when this bird became very popular. Cockatiels enter their nest hollow tail first. Oh no, tail first. Sorry, I'm just reading from the script. So sometimes, and also I'm very sleepy. So cockatiels enter their nest hollow. So nest hollow is kind of like they usually rest in tree cavities. So I'm assuming it's a tree cavity. So they enter it tail first, which is very unusual. Their tail being so long that they cannot turn around in the nest. Oh, I never knew that. Yeah, so birds with long tails sometimes have trouble, I guess. But cockatiels, this is the second fact. Cockatiels do not, no, this is the third fact. Oh my god, guys, you can tell how sleepy I am. So cockatiels do not make a screeching sound like many other parrots and can learn to actually speak. So that's very nice. The fourth fact here, the cockatiels can mimic a range of sounds, including other birds' calls, which is very cool. The fifth fact, a gallatiel is a chick produced by a cockatiel and a gala meeting with each other. So a gala is actually from the family of the cockatiel. We'll learn more about its family later. Males are better than females at whistling and talking, and wild male cockatiels use these sounds to attract females. So males are better, and they sometimes use it to attract females, which is obvious. So yeah, like most birds use their sounds to attract females. Moving on to the family and the scientificness of this bird. The cockatiel is, its scientific name is Nymphicus hollandicus, and it's a member of its own branch of the cockatoo family, which is endemic to Australia. So the cockatoo family, it's called Cockatielidae, which is kind of like where all like the parrots, the cockatoos kind of belong. I don't think parrots belong there, only cockatoos belong there. So like the sulfur-crested cockatoo, the gala, the red-tailed black cockatoo, and so on. So all of these birds are from the cockatoo family. So they are prized as household pets and companion parrots throughout the world, and are relatively easy to breed. So these birds are very easy to breed, and that's probably why they're popular. As a caged bird, cockatiels are second in popularity, only to the budgerigar. So the budgerigar, I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's the budgie. So it's like full name, but I'm not gonna call it that. I'm just gonna call it the budgie. So the budgie is from the parrot family, and it's also kind of like a popular pet. So in the United States, cockatiels are often referred to simply as teals, and in Australia, their native country, they are referred to as quarions or wiros. So the second name is what caught my attention, and these birds are the smallest members of the cockatoo family, or the Cockatielidae family. So the cockatiel is also part of the chatterboxes collection. So this is another fun fact that I collected. So the chatterboxes collection is kind of like the hairbingers and the yellow fur, whatever, feathered animal collection. So like there are different collections that birds belong to, and the cockatiel is part of the chatterboxes one. So as the name suggests, the chatterboxes birds have varying degrees of talking ability. Some are able to mimic only a few words and phrases, while some may have a vocabulary of almost 2,000 words. So there are even birds that can copy almost any sound, from a car alarm to human speech. So I think it's called a lark bird, that can literally copy anything that it hears. So yeah. Some of the birds from the chatterboxes collections are the African gray parrot, cockatiel, and budgie. So yeah, very cool. Now moving on to the appearance. Although in captivity many color varieties are bred, wild cockatiels have a distinctive appearance. Their plumage is largely gray, with a yellow face, orange patches on the cheeks, a long, wispy gray and yellow crest, and prominent white patches on gray wings. So females and juveniles have duller plumage than adult males. So this is also kind of like a little bit of sexual dimorphism, but not as much, because females, like, they don't miss anything, they're just duller. And then the male's tail is dark gray, but females and juveniles have yellowish outermost tail feathers with gray barring. Moving on to the geography, the cockatiels are endemic to mainland of Australia, and they're widely distributed throughout the country, with more in the southwest. So these birds occur in a range of open habitats, and they live in open woodland, farmland, savanna, orchards, blah blah blah. So yeah, they live everywhere. So some of the habits of the cockatoos are very, peculiar and very interesting, so let's learn about that. Cockatiels can occur in pairs or in small groups, but they usually congregate in flocks of as many as several hundred birds, especially where food is abundant. They usually perch on the top of dead trees or on power lines, group members adopting the same position as the others, which is very cool. they face the same direction and into the wind. So it's very cool to see a picture of that. Like they just look like little model artificial birds all like doing the same thing. So yeah. So these birds are swift, powerful flyers, and flocks will often make long flights to go between foraging grounds, water sources, and roosting sites. So they're very swift, they're very fast, and they usually do long flights to go between places. So yeah. So when it's not the breeding season, the cockatiels are nomadic and will wander depending on the seeding of grasses as well as cultivated plants. That's just a little thing that I learned. So yeah, now let's move on to the diet. The cockatiels are herbivorous, or like granivores, which means they eat mainly seeds. So they eat acai seeds, and also like native and cultivated plants like fruits, grains, berries, and all that. So yeah, they just eat a lot of seeds. They need to drink very regularly, and also they are often near water. So now let's move on to the mating life of the cockatiels. Cockatiels are monogamous breeders with pairs forming strong bonds and possibly mating for life. So they're not serially monogamous. They're like, they just pick one bird and just stay with them for life mostly. Breeding is from August to December, but occasionally as soon as April, depending on weather conditions, particularly rainfall. So breeding, one thing about breeding that's interesting is that it's dependent on the environment. It's either dependent on the food availability, the the rainfall, the weather, and all that. So like for the cockatiels, it's dependent on the rainfall, and it's very interesting to know that. So the bird's nest is a tree hollow simply lined with wood dust. So it's kind of like a tree cavity, kind of like the woodpecker, and they can produce several broods each season. Females usually lay between 4 to 7 white eggs, and incubation is for about 3 weeks by both parents. The female does it at night and the male during the day. So they kind of share the load. When they hatch, chicks are covered with thick yellow down. As you know, always chicks are very different from the parents when they're born. At around 4 to 5 weeks, they leave the nest. Young chicks grow quickly, and very soon they can join the nomadic flocks. At about the age of 6 months, males will develop yellow markings on their faces, but this species is not sexually mature until the age of 13 months for males and 18 for the females. So some of the population threats for the cockatiel is that, it doesn't really have a lot of population threats, but large flocks, however, are regarded by farmers as pests and are sometimes killed under permits. So that's very, very, it's a, I don't know what to say about that. It's like, it's just very brutal. So the population of the cockatiel is actually unknown, but currently they're found everywhere and they're of least concern. So that's a very, very good thing. So another thing that I'm going to add about this bird is the ecological niche. So the ecological niche is kind of like the role that they play in the ecological system that's so specific that no other bird can, or no other animal can replicate it. So although preferring sun-dried seeds, cockatiels can act as seed dispersers in their habitats when they eat fresh seeds. Being very messy eaters, they scatter seeds and shells up to 4 or 5 feet when they eat. They also disperse seeds of the fruit they consume. So, a lot of birds do this, but not in a specific way as the cockatiel. And each bird does its own part to the environment, and that's why it's so important to protect them. Also because they're very cute and unique. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this early bird episode. So I hope you enjoyed learning about the cockatiel. So I really enjoyed it because this was a very short kind of research, since I have school like in 30 minutes. I also, I also found it very interesting that, these birds are from the Chatterbox's collection, and there are so many other birds that are trying to be human. Yeah, they're unique in their own way, and especially unique when they can actually learn to speak. So yeah, that's very cool. Don't forget to tune into my episode next week when we'll be chatting about another cool bird. And don't forget to follow this podcast on social media. If you would like to message me on Instagram, the username is early_bird_weekly_podcast. Or if you'd like to send me an email, you can send it to earlybirdweeklypodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to ask any questions or give feedback. I'm open to any suggestions for the future episodes as well. And if you liked this episode, you can share it with your family and friends. That's always very, really helpful. Or just keep listening. That's the best thing you can do. I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast. I have very little time to get ready. So I hope you like this episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye.